Welcome to all budding learners. You will be learning to write an important writing skill activity in English. You would have seen journalists in media holding a mic asking questions to different people. These people could be big personalities in the field of politics, government officials, or even film stars. These one-on-one conversations happen between two or more people. A toddler has to undergo an interview to get admission in kindergarten. Later in life, a person appears for several other interviews, mainly for an education course or for getting a job. You will also see that these questions asked are answered by these people. Such sessions, where questions are asked by a person and answered by the other, are called interviews. Interviews have become a very important part of our modern lifestyle. We also get to read such interviews which appear in newspapers and magazines. The questions asked in these interviews are interesting, very logical, and are asked to get more information about a particular matter from the person answering. Therefore, it is important to learn the format and the kind of questions that can be asked to different people coming from different background, which could be films, music, sports, politics, social work, etc. Today, you will be learning all about framing interview questions. Let's go over a few points to remember while attempting this writing skill activity. Students, you must remember that in this activity, you must not only be the interviewer and ask questions and not write answers to these questions. While conducting an interview, it is important to keep the following points in mind. Firstly, you must write down the purpose of the interview, that is, why the interview is being conducted. Depending on the kind of person you are interviewing, frame suitable questions to get the required information. Next, the questions asked must be arranged in a proper sequence. There should be a flow or continuity in the pattern. You must avoid asking double questions or even repeating questions that have already been asked. The questions should be worded in clear terms. You must ask open-ended questions so that the interviewee can freely answer. Do not pose too many yes-no questions. Avoid questions with obvious answers. For example, if you were interviewing an actor who won an award, asking him a question like, "Did you feel happy when you received the award?" is not useful because the answer is obviously a yes. Try to bring a variety in the framing of questions. Use WH words like what, where, when, why, etc. You must take care so that you do not sound rude or arrogant while posing these questions. The questions should reflect courtesy and politeness. There are 3 parts to an interview. Firstly, you must introduce the person you are interviewing and welcome him. You can also tell him or her that you would like to pose a few questions. After this short introduction, you must continue with the set of questions you wish to ask the person. These questions could be directly related to the person's life, occupation, or career. Remember that you must frame 8 to 10 questions at the most for this writing skill. While concluding, you must thank the person for answering the questions and also express how it was a wonderful experience for you to get this opportunity to meet the person and interview them. You can also ask him if he wants to convey any message to the general public. Now that we have looked at the rules and the format for interview writing, let's consider an example to understand this topic better. Imagine that you are given the opportunity to interview a veterinary doctor. Frame 10 questions that you would like to ask him. Remember to add a question mark at the end of each question. Students, you must now think about all the kinds of logical questions you can ask a vet. You can ask the doctor the reasons for becoming a vet, and when he or she decided to be an animal doctor. Another question that could be asked if the vet has pets at home. You can also ask about the challenges the vet faces in treating animals and birds, and ask him to recollect any particularly challenging case he has dealt with. A question can be asked about the reaction of the pet owners when their pets are ill or injured. The next question can be asking the vet for advice on how we can help animals and birds which are injured in absence of a vet. The vet you are interviewing has authored books on animals and birds. Pose a question on the books written by the vet. Lastly, you can thank the vet for answering all the questions, and you can ask him about the advice he would give for people who aspire to be veterinary doctors in the future. Now, you have successfully framed 10 logical questions that can be posed to the vet. Students, you may be asked to interview an actor, singer, a politician, a sportsperson, or even a social worker. The kind of questions you ask these people should be related to their personality and their career. You can read the other examples given in your workbook to understand the different questions that can be asked and then solve the assignments given.